What's up, everybody? Welcome to an awesome episode of EZPZ Podcast coming at you. Studio EZPZ. Joining me this week, Brandon.
Pregnant pause. Hello.
Gotta get that. It's the editing technique, man. Trey.
What up, dudes?
What up, two of you dudes? What's up? We've got a good show. Episode 85. We're nearing on that. Episode 100. We took a break from last week just because it was the birthday celebration, 515 Alive stuff. But that's okay. So,
Too wild.
it was pretty awesome. We'll get into it. So, Brandon, I'm going to kick it to you. Let's get a little bit of a recap for 515 Alive.
Yeah. The big ones on day one were RL Grime and Future. I believe, who opened for RL Grime? Who was before RL?
Who was it? It wasn't somebody I was
it Ganja White Night?
No, he opened for Bass Nectar.
Okay.
So it was somebody I wasn't like too amped on, I'm pretty sure. It might have been Cashmere Cat.
No, I think that was Saturday.
Okay.
Anyway, wild night. I think everyone was just getting down to RL Grime. I will say on Friday, fun fact, I got invited to my own after party.
What?
This is a fact.
Are you serious?
This is a fact. Just to give the listeners a recap, RL Grime kicked off our birthday celebration, big style, at 515 Alive.
We're all murdered out. All of us were all black. It was really cool. People were noticing. We had like literally 20-something people all black. It was so cool.
And Shaun and Lydia shout out to Lydia, had RL balloons on a fishing reel and were releasing them. So I always knew exactly where they were, and it helped so much. And I'm an old man. I like to sway in the back. That's kind of what I do.
Yeah.
But for RL, I felt I needed to be next to the family.
Yeah.
So I rushed up there towards the end of the RL Grime set, getting down, chilling next to Kara, Caleb, Jacqueline, Sydney, Megan, Chantel, Luis on the left side. And then this fellow next to me invited me to my own after party. He's like, man, you were dancing really good. You want to come to this after party? Give me your phone number. I'm like, okay. I knew who it was. He obviously didn't know me. Needless to say, we go after our RL Grime set. We go back to like decompress, regroup, if you will. And I walk up to him. I'm like, hey, man, what's that after party you were talking about? It's at Brandon's house. Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Who was it?
Nick Hamilton.
No way.
Yep. And I think it was Mitch who was like, dude, it's his party.
Oh, my God.
It was hilarious.
Nick Hamilton. I'm happy he was in town. That was a lot of fun. Nice seeing him. But yeah, RL Grime set was so phenomenal. Lydia with the balloons. She had like the actual, like those giant balloons you might have seen, Trey.
I didn't see them.
No, I mean, you may have seen, like, these balloons. They're, like, a new popular thing. People are, like, getting, like, for your 25th birthday, a 2 and a 5. Yeah. They're, like, big gold or big silver metallic looking.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Okay, yeah. So Lydia got RL in silver, and it was awesome. Nice. She, like, just, on a whim, just did that because they were banning the flags.
It was genius.
Yeah.
It was genius. I loved it.
Nothing short of it.
Yeah, exactly.
They allow fishing rods, but not signs.
It was just a little fishing reel.
Dude, just wait till
like a little teeny one.
Just wait till we talk about day 2. I'll tell you what got brought in.
My big bag of almonds? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, no.
Contraband.
If you won't call it that.
So, Future played after RL Grime. I had seen Future. You had seen Future with Drake in October 2016. Yeah, we had all seen him. I wasn't really feeling rap at that time. I mean, RL took a lot out of me. He had the most killer set I'd ever seen, and I've seen him 5, 6, 7 times. So, really, really awesome. RL Grime was phenomenal.
I completely agree. It was a really fun set, and I literally chill in the back for most all sets now. I just want space. I don't like to fight crowds, but I literally felt the need to go up there, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it because like it was life changing.
Yeah, dude.
It was.
He played so much from Nova, but he also played so much from Core. So an album that came out in 2014. One of my favorite albums of 2014. But Nova, which just came out 2-3 weeks ago, he played a bunch of hits from that, and he made sure to play some non-singles from it, which I really was happy about.
Yeah, my friend Jake, a friend of the show, he mentioned that he wishes RL would get go back to kind of his roots of being grimier.
Trap.
Yeah, and sure enough, he did that. And then I just look at Jake and we're like, oh my God, this is exactly why we paid to be here.
So that's exactly what I was kind of expecting, because it's kind of what Core is. Core is trappy, but not really the actual album. But then the remixes and his live sets take those songs, those like more poppy songs, and then he adds that trap beat, or trap breakdown, if you want to.
It was so much fun.
A drop, I guess.
It was so much fun. Do you have anything else to recap on day one, Shaun?
Your after party was freaking amazing. Your brother was a saint.
Crazy.
Ryan,
living legend.
Yeah, Brandon Paulsen rented a van for his birthday. Like, that's his present he wanted, so he could get everyone from the festival to his house for the after party. So none of us had to worry about Ubers. It was awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool. And his brother drove in from. I'll let you
Cedar
speak
Rapids. Yeah, my brother. Shout out to Ryan Paulsen. Drove in from Cedar Rapids to chauffeur about, I would say, 30 people. 3 vanfuls, probably about 10 apiece.
Yeah.
We shoved people in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Butts on butts.
Yeah.
And to my house for the day one after party. It was great, and I mean, there's not much to say other than like, wow, living legend.
Yeah.
And he did that twice.
Yeah.
For 2 days.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, and then he had to work, right?
Yeah, he had to work on Saturday morning.
Oh my God.
He said he was out of it for the first 2 hours. He was just like sleeping at his desk.
Oh my gosh.
Because he couldn't function.
Tough. But my favorite part was the quintuple birthday celebration cake stand.
That was crazy.
That was sweet. I'm happy that Cake stand.
Oh,
Every year for my birthday for like the last 5 or 6 years, I've had a cake stand where everyone sings happy birthday. You're like about to do a cake stand, like pull of like, like from a cake. And then at the end, everyone smashes your face into it, or you smash your own face into the cake. It's fun as hell. And Nick Hamilton came up with it my birthday 2013 at my dad's house, and ever since then it's been a great time.
5 people celebrating this quadruple.
You had like literally 4 or 5 cakes.
Wait, did you all simultaneously get put into one cake?
Yeah.
No.
No.
One cake. Like there was a line of cakes.
He had like 4 or 5 cakes.
5 cakes, and you all dropped at the same time.
Oh,
yes.
Wow, that's
Everyone
impressive.
saying happy birthday. It was awesome.
It was intense.
It was seriously like, I'm so happy it happened. That's my main thing I want every year.
Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, day 2 though, I'll let you speak towards that because I slept for most of the day.
Yeah, day 2 was great. I was running on empty, but through coffee and Red Bull, I got through it. I will say my favorite highlights were Cashmere Cat, into Ganja White Night, and all of us getting down to Ganja White Night, into, I believe, Base Nectar.
Yeah.
But funny story, while I was wandering, I think you were still asleep at this point, I was wandering with Ron, and we go over to the Thunderdome.
Oh my.
And
What's a Thunderdome?
right. Well, it was the Triffinity, and I
I was awake. I was with you guys.
for the Triffinity.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
Well, I don't know who's all in the Triffinity. I know Yeti's in there.
Yeti, Toadface, and Mount something.
Yep, thank you. Anyway, someone brought in a kiddie pool with gallons of cooked spaghetti, and they just got down to Triffinity in the kiddie pool with spaghetti.
It was the weirdest thing.
It was the most wookish thing I've seen.
Yeah,
It's been making the internet rounds as a wook page. Like, I follow a lot of like hilarity wook pages to make fun of wooks, and 515 Live, needless to say, was there all last week.
So there's no spaghetti sauce, Trey. It's just literal noodles.
I figured it out. It's really fucking weird.
I just see dudes like putting spaghetti on other dudes, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like on drugs, that would be wild as shit, bro.
Yeah, I mean-
like, so to be fair, I get where they're coming from, but I'm not about to do that in public.
My question is, like, when you go through the search and it's like, sir, why do you have so much spaghetti? Dude, it's my lunch. I don't know. Like,
A kiddie pool, bro? Like, what the fuck?
They weren't really doing much about like monitoring food, so people are bringing in food, our friends, and I brought in a whole bunch of almonds, so I didn't have to spend so much money at the vendors. But there was amazing food trucks there.
Yeah.
Food was so good.
cool. I Didn't know.
You didn't eat any? Okay.
I was running on empty and I couldn't eat anything. I had an upset tummy from too many Jello shots the night before.
Oh yeah, dude, you had your patented Jello shots, which were tight.
Dude,
yeah, you're after.
I probably had like 30.
Yeah, they had bubble tea. They didn't just have like pizza. They had a whole bunch of Chinese that was actually really good. I
saw some dope nachos.
Yeah. Lots of nachos. People were getting tacos, burritos. It was really good. The food was great. I like Waterworks. It's just huge. There's no sound pollution. Not that much, at least. But we got there right at before 1, because Lydia wanted to see an artist at 1:30. I forget that person's name. For some reason, I'm just blanking on it. But we watched them at the main stage. There was like 14 people there. The sun was beating down on us. So we went and like laid underneath the like tent at like 1 p.m. I slept till from 2 to 4. It was awesome. Took a 2-hour nap, power nap.
Dude, those are some infamous Shaun naps where he'll go down for like a short period of time and then just come back out of nowhere, full energy.
Oh my God, wild.
Eat some sugar.
Yeah. No, that's what I did. I went and got some sugar. The bubble tea, like cappuccino bubble tea, was amazing. Mocha, I should say. But yeah, I was getting down during Ganja Wine Night and Bass Nectar.
During Bass Nectar, I'm like, I looked at Alex, Crew's friend of the show, and I'm like, where did Shaun get all this energy? He's like, dude, he didn't do shit but sleep all day.
Yeah, that's my technique, man, and it worked. Yeah, that was the hardest I had danced probably since Forest 2015, or no. It was Somerset 2016. That was the hardest I danced since then.
Yeah, I will say...
I was dripping with sweat. I drank like 320 ounces of water. I was just ripping it down, dude. It was awesome.
Regarding the music, regarding Bass Nectar's set in particular, I will say one thing. He did call out Iowa in a negative way. People were throwing glow sticks on stage, and he introed his ridicule of us really calmly and was like, don't throw them on the stage, throw them in the sky. And I'm like, well, Iowa got called out. This is why he only comes here once a decade.
Yeah, no kidding. First time he'd been here since 2011. Last time he played at Valor. We spoke towards that for previous episodes. Yeah, you're so right. I remember that. So that was the moment where I was still up towards not the front at all, like not even past the sound tent. But I was up there with Lydia.
Crowd.
Yeah, in the crowd with Lydia and Mitch. The crowd was humongous. This was the biggest crowd 515 Live's ever seen, I'm pretty sure. There's just no way it couldn't have been. And they had the drones flying ahead, so I can't wait for that aerial shot in those recap videos. But he said that, I'm like, oh man, like... He's right though. Like he's getting right. All these glow sticks on your board. You're like, it could mess up the sound, mess up everything.
Yeah. I mean, he told them what's up. Like, it's not like a reason to not come back. You know, it's like, oh, I'm kind of annoyed by this, and then I bet they stopped.
Oh, totally. He said there's plenty of room in the sky.
He was trying to be cool about it, I think.
Yeah. I don't think he cared.
He played a lot of. So his EP just came out. The Reflective Part 3 EP just came out this last Friday, breaking the fourth wall. What was that? August 24th, just yesterday. And he played that song Whiplash on there, that live for us.
It was a nice treat.
Dude, it was so cool. He had the background video of the rapper that performs in that. Oh man, it was awesome. He was Bass Nectar. That was one of my favorite times seeing Bass Nectar. Totally made up. I'm looking at your hat now, Brandon, from Forest 2014.
Yep.
Totally made up for that though. It was just phenomenal. Everybody had that afterglow, and everyone still does. You can see it in our friend group chats for Electric Force and whatnot. Everyone's still talking about the show.
I agree. When he started his set, I'm like, I wanted to think about going up there, but then the sound was just deafening. I'm like, oh my God, people that are in the crowd near the front they don't have sound anymore.
Getting walloped by the sound. The sound's
crazy.
The crew and the system that was from New Jersey is apparently very pricey, but Bass Nectar won't play on something that's not to his standards.
It was insane.
Yeah, man.
I was in the deep back and I was feeling it.
I was with you, yes.
Feeling the sound.
Man, yeah. I couldn't go up much farther than where I was originally with Mitch and Lydia for the first 15 minutes of his set. I will say he played for a long time. played well past his curfew.
I was getting tired. I'm like, can I sit down?
Yeah, no kidding.
No, but it was a lot of fun, and he played a well choreographed set, like something that I've never seen before or experienced before. So I call it a success. The only thing that I wish that was there was more energy for me
to match him.
Yeah.
The lasers were sweet. You could see them all like hit the trees way like a mile almost away from the stage. Super fun. And then we went to Nick and Shayna's for the Gandy Caverns after party, and that was a ton of fun.
That was super fun too.
Yeah. Good time.
Good time.
You can't really say much more than that. I mean,
no,
we were up until like the sunrise, and we were all just having a great time. We went to the fair after, which was cool.
Yep. The she had the nectar punch.
Yeah.
I had Jello shot.
So Nick and her made like pretty much pink panty droppers. Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just like a spike punch, and it was like everyone loved it, and then all of a sudden it was there and it was gone. It was like 5 gallons. It was pretty fun.
I got a tummy ache from that too.
It's funny how quick like jungle juice and stuff like that just disappears, dude. It's insane, bro.
Right? Yeah, you've had parties, you know. Like,
yeah, definitely. Like that, and just like fucking, what's it called? Like pucker. That shit just disappears instantly. I don't know.
It was delicious. So shout out to the Gandy fam for hosting the fam. I don't know what time we left. I think we left about 1:30.
Yeah, you guys ended up leaving pretty early. It was closer. I think it was closer to 2. But yeah.
Yeah, because I had people staying at my house that went to the after party, so I wanted to meet them at the house. And
yeah. One thing I do want to say that really bummed me out. So I woke up from my nap specifically at like 4. I had like an alarm set and everything. But because I wanted to get
in the festival
4 p.m.
Yeah.
So like my 2-hour long nap, I wanted to make sure I was awake because I wanted to get ready, get some food in my stomach and get some beer. I hadn't drank all day, and then get ready for Trippie Redd, who was supposed to come on at 6:30, and then apparently it was announced like under the ropes, but the previous night, so Friday night, he was not going to come, and then they announced it on their social channels while I was sleeping. Such a bummer. I really, really loved Life's a Trip, his new album that came out just this month. I mean,
I will say Yeti replaced him, so it was a solid replacement. Because
Yeti was fun, but
Yeti gets down.
Yeah, at that point, I wasn't really about it. So they pushed Denzel Curry back to his time slot of 6:30 instead of 5:15. And he was amazing. He ended up doing some screamo stuff. He did like the typical thing, Bulls on Parade, that like every rapper does. But it was still awesome because then he ended up doing System of a Down. It was really kind of odd, but it was really cool. And he was literally screaming.
Weird.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm awake now. We were up really close for him. And Mitch Sullivan, who will be on the podcast eventually, really gets down with him. So it was cool. And then, like you said, Brandon Cashmere Cat, I do want to point out that was a fun set.
That was a super fun set.
Zero lights, zero video backdrop, though.
I can't even remember that. I've seen Cashmere Cat first instance at Lollapalooza 2 years ago, maybe 3. And it was a fun time then, so I wanted to make a point of seeing him there in my hometown, and he did not disappoint. It was really like a lovey, up-tempo, like positive set. It was positive tunes, rather than really harsh, really harsh cutting stuff.
The next set was Ganja White Night,
where everyone just
opposite.
like
the crowd thinned, and then it was packed again with people that wanted to headbang, break your necks.
Yep. I will say Ganja White Night gave a huge shout out, in my opinion, to 515 Alive by posting like I would say, I think it was maybe 7 minutes of their set on their Facebook channel. And you don't see that much really anymore, except for large iconic venues such as Red Rocks or Forest or something like that. These smaller festival shows, you really don't see that other than like a group picture.
You're totally right, Brandon. I've seen all week for any of the artists I actually follow from that, like including, I don't even follow Lil Xan, but 515 Live posted, so I was going to say, that is who opened for RL Grind.
Yep.
Lil Xan.
Yep.
I didn't end up watching him.
I wanted to see the hype.
He's a goofy dude, but he was still fun. He did play that Diplo song, which was so cool. I love that song.
Yeah, it's not my thing, but it was certainly something to watch.
Yeah, he was fine. But anyway, he posted a bunch. There's a lot of people that were posting, like you were saying. So lots of love for 515 Live. It's only going to get better next year.
Whoop whoop! Shout out to Dan Green and company. Thank you.
Yeah, no kidding. You guys killed it this year. It was so cool. We have only a couple more things to chat about. It's going to be maybe a shorter episode, but I do want to have a deeper discussion on Emo Nite, especially with all three of us going to that tonight at Woolies. But first, let's just close the book on a topic I know Trey was a part of a few episodes back in just last month in July about Mollie Tibbetts. Body was found this week after it in quotations now, I'm doing the quotes, everybody, an illegal immigrant.
Undocumented.
Yeah, exactly. Immigrant led police to her body after claiming he blacked out. So apparently he said he followed her, and after she passed this farm he works on a prominent Iowa Republicans farm as like a farm
dairy
name.
Farm, yeah.
Yeah, it's a dairy farm.
Yep.
And he followed her after she ran past it, and he blacked out. Long story short, he led her to a rotting body that was under a whole bunch of corn stalks. How disgusting. Her autopsy just came out on Thursday, and she was murdered. It's considered a homicide for multiple sharp force injuries. That's an actual scientific term for, like, obviously stabbing. It's not really scientific, but you know, that's the term. That's their actual terminology. I was just expecting like something else, not like multiple sharp force injuries.
Blunt force trauma.
I guess you're right. Yeah, I've heard that kind of thing before.
That's like a baseball bat to the dome.
Right. Well, yeah. Thank you.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah. She went missing July 18th. So I mean, we had that podcast right afterward, and. Just over a month later, we get her body. This undocumented or illegal immigrant, Christian Rivera, 24 years old, held at $5 million bond. They had a bond hearing on Wednesday the 22nd. And originally it was for $1 million bond. So if you know anything about bail bondsmen, you can pay a bail bondsman 10% down. So that'd be $100,000 to get him out. But now it's $500,000 because the attorney general wants him to pay $5 million for. I mean, it doesn't really matter because who has $100K already? If you have $100K, you probably have $500K.
Yeah,
kind of thing. But that just goes to show you there is a lot of people believe without evidence. There's been no evidence suggesting that he's done it yet, except for that he led them to the body. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking that he probably did as well, but innocent until proven guilty is
How did they like track this guy down, or did he like turn himself in?
They saw a video of him following her, and then he became a subject of the investigation through interviews. He said he was circling her, and
if every single...
It's basically he got rejected and he got pissed about it and decided to murder her.
Yeah.
That's the story that the... not the defense, but the... Prosecution, the attorney general, whatever, is definitely building this story up right now. But there's some weird connection between him and Mollie Tibbetts where he actually got one of her old high school classmates pregnant in 2015, and they had a kid together, one of her friends.
A 3-year-old.
Yeah, so yeah, now that kid is 3, and that woman's not in contact with him from what I've read online. I mean,
she was in court.
She was in the courtroom?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
they showed her and the kid.
Wow, yeah. But anyway, this guy, he killed her, put her in his trunk. After he awoke from blacking out, He took her out of the trunk, put her body out there somewhere in Poweshiek County, Brooklyn, Iowa, essentially, and then put corn stalks over her. Just a completely disgusting thing. But, I mean, the murder is one part of the story, the main part, of course. But there is now, I mean, with the whole political atmosphere that we're in right now, as soon as this got announced, we had to hear from our president tweeting out discussing how we need to build a wall because of this illegal immigrant.
Undocumented.
So can you give me a definition? Do you have a better understanding than me about the differences?
It's just a politically correct term. No one technically is illegal. They're undocumented. Because he could have signed up for DACA, but he never did because he was here. He would have been an unaccompanied minor because he came when he was like 7 or 8.
Right.
And younger. So if he wanted to, he could have signed up for DACA and had legal status, but he's undocumented. I mean, to each their own. I just rather use a term that isn't so offensive to the community. So I say undocumented rather than illegal, because they're man-made borders and people migrate for centuries.
Right. Oh yeah. No, I know.
Well,
It's a line
aren't
in the
they like
sand.
man-made laws too? And isn't it like not illegal? Is it not?
I don't know, man. I don't know immigration. I'm not an immigration.
I'm just trying to figure out what people are coming
I'm not an
from with
immigration
it,
attorney, but out of respect for people that have been here for so long and just try to make a living doing their thing, I just use the term undocumented. And the laws that have come in place in the past 40 to 50 years really have made the problem worse. They're trying to crack down, but before, if we're really going to get into this politically, basically what people did about 50 to 60 years ago was they would cross the border, do their work, and go back home. However,
they'd save money or send money back for years at a time, then go back home with that family.
No, like they would cross the border, do their thing, and come back to Mexico where they'd stay. And they would do this, like on a farm in a rotation. But with strict new laws and the border becoming more secure, they're, instead of coming back and forth, they're just coming and staying because it's so hard to go back and forth. If we had more of a quote unquote open border, they would stay down there where they are, and work up here and just commute like anyone else. But because of the strict laws that have been in place over the past 50 years and them becoming more and more and more strict, we're in a process now where people just want to come here and stay here because there's a risk where you might not get to see your family again.
That actually makes a lot more sense. It's so, like the border's less permeable, essentially.
Yeah.
Like if you get in, it's going to be much harder to get out. I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But isn't it more beneficial to have them stay here? Because so like say they work here and then leave and spend their money in Mexico, isn't all of their taxes going to like the Mexican government of like? I
would say yes, but while they're here, they're still paying sales tax or other taxes that while they're doing their migrant work,
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I'm not like a huge proponent of like stricter borders or anything, but I think it would be more beneficial to have them stay longer.
I understand the argument. I completely agree. And personally, I think people should be able to do what they want.
Yeah. No, that's generally my political opinion.
As long as they don't like infringe on anybody else's shit, you can do whatever you want.
As long as you don't hurt somebody, that's how I believe it.
Yeah, and there's douchebags everywhere, and this one just happened to get rejected by a very attractive girl, and he decided to murder her.
Is that a story that you're just building up in your head? Have you read about that?
I've heard a similar like narrative or whatever, but
that she rejected him.
Well,
she doesn't live in that town.
She's from there.
It was like a catcalling thing, or like yelling out the car or whatever, and then like at least the narrative I've heard, was like yelling out the car.
Good word, narrative. You're right.
And like drove around, came back, and like got her or whatever, blacked out. Lost his shit.
Disgusting
nonsense.
So Brandon, what you just spoke about with that he just happens to be Mexican, right, or undocumented.
Yeah. Both.
What I love about her family is they, even through all the pain and anguish that they've had to deal with for the last month plus. Her aunt has been quoted online, her Facebook status, which I'm sure she's private by now because she got like tons of like people.
She got death threats.
Oh yeah, after saying this. She said that evil comes in every color. And it's effing true. Like, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious to us, right? Because we have brains, but there's people out here that want to, create. I mean, our own governor, Kim Reynolds. She had her freaking voice on it. She literally had 3 lines of "I'm sorry for the family. They're going through a lot of shit. We need to like have stricter immigration laws." Like the same tweet. You're just vile.
I just feel bad because it's going to set Democrats back more. And I mean, I really don't subscribe to a political party, but what I do subscribe to is stronger social justice, and that's not a Republican point of view. And it's just going to set the Democrat Party back because they're the party of social justice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm so sorry for the family. And I just want to close the book on that since we did bring it up in a previous podcast. Did not want that to be the bulk of the conversation. But Brandon, do you have another?
Yeah, just one last thing. There is some good coming out of this. Women runners from, I love to run, so I run a lot. I'm running next weekend, actually, in the Chicago Marathon. And
is next weekend Labor Day?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
cool.
And women runners across the country are using the hashtag, I think, Miles for Mollie. And they're running in respect of her and stuff like that. So similar to like the Boston tragedy when, runners were killed in a terrorist attack. When runners were killed in a terrorist attack, people wore pins and things like that. A similar thing, they're using this hashtag to raise awareness about violence against women, which is a good thing.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
And moving on.
I think that, I know she was just literally running around her neighborhood or the neighborhood she was in. But I just can't imagine being a woman. I mean, I would have mace on me.
Last night, I went to a show at the Civic Center and I got scared because someone screamed out their car, "Faggot" at me.
What?
Yeah, dude, it was creepy, and I'm like, oh my god, well, here we go.
All of a sudden, there were adrenaline pumps. Yeah, like what?
So, like, people are out there.
Because you came out of a theater show.
No, I was going to the theater show. I was walking from my car, and I dressed nice. Yeah. God forbid you look nice.
Yeah, you're wearing a button-down tucked in with a belt,
dude.
Right,
and I went to a show, and I got called a faggot by people, and it was like, okay, this is similar to what she experienced.
Yeah, getting yelled at throughout
and catcalled and harassed, essentially. So it's out there everywhere.
Yeah.
At all times.
100%. Let's move on to some cool stuff. Like I said, there's new Death Cab for Cutie just came out. Thank You For Today. Really, really awesome indie alternative album. That's my favorite genre overall. I know yours is pop punk.
I was listening to Transatlanticism. That's what's playing in my car right now. It's one of my favorites.
I love that album so much, man.
I honestly haven't listened to much after that, but I love that album like crazy. It's great.
Dude, you and I could do a whole podcast on that album. I just absolutely love it.
Is it Death Cab?
Death Cab for Cutie. Transatlanticism came out in 2003. It's the same year as AFI Sing the Sorrow.
Oh wow, yeah.
But I mean, we'll get into some more AFI a little bit later in the show here. But oh man, I love that album. Plans came out in 2005. That's when they blew up with Soul Meets Body.
Yeah,
and I Will Follow You Into the Dark.
Yeah.
2 emo songs, pretty emo at least. Not the actual emo that we're probably going to hear tonight, from what I hear. But I'll talk about that. New Bass Nectar. You haven't gotten a chance to listen to it yet, Brandon?
I heard I take breaks after hearing nearly 2 hours of Bass Nectar. I need a break.
Our whole summer is based around EDM, and I know Trey knows that from just literally being on the podcast with Nick and I a lot. But our whole summer is based around EDM. We got to have some little breaks in between. I went to Warped Tour. I've been to a lot of shows.
I went to Lollapalooza.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see much EDM.
Yeah. And Osheaga only had EDM for one day, so that was nice to see some other live music. But yeah, just like you said, dude, after the summer, I'm less inclined to listen to that EDM stuff.
I will listen to Bass Nectar's new album probably soon, whenever I want to turn up.
Yeah.
So if it's I want to get drunk at home, let's throw on some Bass Nectar and let's turn this party up a notch or two.
I started running. I'm running to him this week again.
That's a good thing.
Back to running, I'm rubbing my hip because I have this hip flexor problem, dude. It goes all the way down my thigh into my knee, and my knee tightens up. So it's hard. I'm getting old, man. 28.
Oh. Okay.
New Hippocampus got announced. They got a fall tour. I love Hippocampus, Minnesota Darlings. And then they have a new album called Bambi. They have a single called Bambi. Bambi is coming out in November, I believe. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest.
Ooh, you've listened to it already?
No, just the single.
Oh,
Bambi,
okay.
The title track.
Okay.
His voice is unbelievable. He can hit the falsettos and then the deeper tones, baritone. He can hit the whole range. He's just got such a phenomenal range. And then they're an indie alternative band, almost closer to math rock with some of their tracks, but now they're getting more like alternative, kind of like how Foxing is. Foxing has gone into a more like electronic sound. There's some electronic. They're gonna have a keyboard when they play this fall with Tiger's Jaw. But also one more band I want to talk about. Lots of new music coming out, and just like Brandon and I were saying, not so much EDM, but Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh, no shit.
They announced their new album, Mantra. I believe the album's called I forget what it's called, but their new single off the album called Mantra, and it's good.
That's a fun title.
It's rock and roll. You can tell they took some from Every Time I Die's one of their lead singles. I don't want to join your stupid fucking cult anyway, but the whole point of that track is based around cults. It's all, and I mean, have you guys seen that new documentary in Netflix focusing on the cults? I forget what it's called, but Joe Rogan talks about it all the time.
I know what you're talking about. Gail was watching that. With
exactly. Yes.
Do you know what it's called?
No idea. We'd have to phone a friend and call Gail, but it's super big, super popular right now on Netflix.
It's a documentary
based around this 1970s family documentary thing. Cult thing where they took over an entire town.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Anyway, there's a lot of followings and lots of like interest in this cult mentality. And anyway, the song is like, the lyrics are close to that. I mean, it's fine. There's just not very much screaming anymore. I think just like we were speaking about, I Set My Friends on Fire, all these artists are blowing out their voices because they weren't doing it right to begin with.
Oh, yeah. He got wrecked.
Oh, yeah. Pray for Plagues, when they used to hit their first album, Pray for Plagues, Ollie Sykes, dude, he was wrecking his voice.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What's like a tenure then for...
So Every Time I Die just had their 20th year. This year, their 20th.
Yeah, but the voice.
So, you're saying, how long can you keep going at that?
Yes.
We kind of talked about it in the last podcast, where if you're doing it correctly, you can basically go indefinitely, it doesn't really strain your voice, if you're doing it correctly, but, a lot of, the older style was, more, intense and less, caring about, the way you're doing it, so it really was fucking people's voices up, and you can grow growths on your vocal cords and stuff, just response to stress on them and stuff, but it's crazy.
Sounds
shit.
Dangerous.
The new track is good, and then he shaved all of his hair off. He looks way weird. He kind of looks, he looks like the lead singer of his haircut is just literally a bald, or what's it called?
Well, doesn't he look super Little Xan,
Oh no, I
or does he have face tattoos?
Ollie Sykes has always been looked at as a sex symbol.
Who's that guy in the meme that has his face smashed up against the girl, in the
Lil Xan?
Is that Little Xan? I think they look almost identical, bro.
Oh man, I don't know.
So I'm thinking this has to be a response to Little Xan.
Oh god, he's trying to get that Lil Xan crowd.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro.
Lil Xan is he's kind of he's cute ugly. He's
Cute,
got
ugly.
messed up teeth.
I'm a homo. I don't think he's attractive. Have you heard him talk? Once he opens his mouth, he sounds special.
He's exactly what Trey was talking about. He's got that SoundCloud mumble rap.
Yo.
He was fun though. We didn't go up very far, and he did play that Diplo song. So no hate on you, Lil Xan. Don't come after me.
Bless Little Xan. Thank you. Praise be to you.
But let's talk about something else that just came out this week. Another piece of media that we were all consuming right before the pod. The new trailer for American Vandal Season 2. I think it comes out September 13th. It's going to be a Friday in September, just a few weeks away.
Oh shit, we'll have to throw a party.
That's what I was saying. It's the same, but the actual show is debuting the same night, so September 14th.
I think that's right.
14th, because it's the same night as one of our friends' birthday party, so we may have to do something on a Sunday fun day or Saturday even.
Whatever.
Yeah, but either way, Trey, talk about, you haven't talked very much.
Okay, so the premise of this season is basically there's a mass diarrhea outbreak, and allegedly the lemonade was tainted in some manner, and everyone in the school was shitting their pants. And basically it's just going back to kind of the first season. The same documentarians did such a good job. They're infiltrating this prep academy to do research on the turd burglar who is the villain in this season.
They were talking about the chicken fingers were infected, or was it the lemonade?
Well, so there's multiple theories, you know. So
we're already like talking about just with the 2-minute trailer.
Oh yeah, it's a trailer. They don't want you to know the whole thing. We don't know what's poison. We don't know what's
I saw a picture of a hot janitor, so you never know.
So last year, they almost the exact same time, September I believe, they released season 1 of American Vandal. It was all about who drew the dicks on everyone's car in the school parking lot, right?
Yeah.
So the same documentary crew is going to another school. Brandon, you made a comment I didn't even realize when I just watched it again the second time, the trailer that is, where they even like show their Netflix series. Like, they're breaking the fourth wall.
They are.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Like that show is just so well made for being like a mockumentary, man. Like it's just like I didn't even know it was a joke until like halfway through it. I was seriously like, for real, like, oh dude, I can't wait. How did they get to such great footage? Like these guys are sick, bro.
Like one of my favorite parts of season 1 was when they were doing like a 3D explanatory thing, and they show this dude on the Dodge jacket.
I know, dude, the hand job, and then it shows like the angles. Like no way could she have seen it from behind the canoes. There's not a good angle on the ducks and the canoes.
And one of my favorite parts, or one of my favorite call-outs of the show is like, even my mom got into it. She wanted to know who drew the dicks. My mom's pretty conservative in that regard. So it was just super cool to see, like, it's bridging generations, and
it's just bringing everyone closer together in general. Honestly, it's a relationship building experience.
I will say one thing about the newest season is once I saw like the icon for the trailer, I saw it was like a nun or a sister, and I saw that I thought it was going to touch on sex abuse. Like church sex abuse, and I'm like, oh my god, are they really gonna touch this? And then I saw these kids shitting everywhere, and I died laughing because I saw someone slipping. If you remember watching the trailer just now, that someone slipped in the hallway on diarrhea. Like, oh my god!
And they have like the fucking big board with like the tape on it, and they're like, wait, could the root of all this is poop is funny? Like, is that the motive?
Oh man,
so good! I'm super excited. Yeah, you and Gail held that awesome party. We all just like munched on some stuff.
Yeah,
and,
I still have my Who Drew the Dicks shirt.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, you made your own shirt.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, if you got a plain white tee, you gotta spice it up sometimes. You know, like
true.
Dude, yeah, that's so.
My
true.
dick drawing was not very impressive. No,
You definitely didn't draw the dicks.
No one was impressed. Like.
So good. Yeah, looking forward to that season 2. Next week though, we got Ozark season 2 coming out. Dude. Netflix, another great Netflix show. Just really cool though. Just back to, I don't know why I had to do that, but just back to American Vandal. It's funny. You're just like you said, Trey. Mockumentary. The obsession with stand-up comedy and mockumentary or documentaries right now.
Oh yeah,
it's literally like that's all streaming right now.
Yeah,
like.
definitely.
Just checked out Burt Kreischer's new stand-up last night called Secret Time. Really, really funny. He's a master storyteller. Not necessarily like a funny dude. Like he's not attacking like anything like culturally relevant. He's just telling awesome, funny stories about his family. So it was good. It was good. Really good. That's also on Netflix. Check that out. But let's get into our ending topic here. Emo Nite is happening. Emo Nite LA it all started back in LA at clubs out there where some dude pretty much started a company where now it's like come all the way across the country where you can like, I think what they're doing is like buying rights to have the tour in your town. So it's getting put on by Third String Productions here, an Omaha sister city company. Homie Austin Gall, I know you grew up with him, Trey.
I don't know him super well.
Okay, but you went to shows with him kind of growing up.
I saw him at shows.
Okay.
I don't super know him.
All right, well, either way, we're getting in, and we got some Lydia got +1s to get me in, at least for free, so it's pretty tight. So Emo Nite is basically where there's just going to be a DJ playing your favorite emo songs. I don't know how it works as far as like requesting or like what to expect, if it's just gonna be pop punk, like Blink-182, like, you know, like radio hits.
Yeah.
But I would like to hear some deeper trap.
Such as what?
So, yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Well, not like just all Fall Out Boy, Blink-182, and Sum 41, and Simple Plan, like that stuff.
I don't think that they'll be playing that. If it's like Austin, I would assume that it's probably like Taking Back Sunday, Census Fail, and like shit like that, you know. So.
I want to see Armor for Sleep. That's my main band. I'm wearing the farewell tour. I went and saw them on their farewell tour in 2012. And then Nick and I actually went and saw them in Chicago when they played. There's a 10-year anniversary of What to Do When You're Dead. So I know that's kind of like, how does that work? They had a farewell tour, then they came back for a single tour. But, you know, that's when they were all celebrating, or it's 2015, excuse me. But I want to see some Scary Kids Scaring Kids if I could.
Oh, yeah.
I loved them. Dude, I still listen to them to this day. So AFI, Armor for Sleep, and Scary Kids Scaring Kids. Top 3 for me. What about you two?
I'm hoping for like Just Surrender and like some more obscure stuff. Like
that's honestly, literally a band that literally sent me a message about, like, I don't know anything about them. Just Surrender?
Super emo, like super emo. But like great and catchy, you know what I mean? Like there's like only a couple songs I really like by them or whatever.
I don't recognize the name even from like a supporting act. So like what bands would they have toured with?
Man, like Brand New probably.
Which we know we're gonna hear tonight, guys.
I'm trying to think, like, just like honestly, maybe like Panic at the Disco, or honestly, Academy is probably. Like,
I love the Academy.
Yeah, it'd be cool to hear some of them.
Had some fun Warped Tour days with them.
Yes, that was my first show actually. It was Sherwood, the Rocket Summer, Armor for Sleep. The Academy is September 6, 2006. It's a good time. 16 years old. That was my first actual concert at Valor Ballroom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'd seen Hanson at Valley West Mall to, like, literally, it was the most packed, like, I've ever seen that mall. But they just played in the middle of the mall, and, like, we were on the second floor. My dad heard it on the radio. My mom and dad, day of Saturday, and they took me there. Super cool. But I love Hanson. I'm never going to not love him. You and I are going to go see Hanson October 6th.
Oktoberfest, yeah.
Adventureland.
Fuck yeah.
But anyway, back to Emo Nite. I want to hear those 3 acts. Brandon, I want to hear what you want to hear.
I mean, honestly...
Good Charlotte.
Yeah, but I mean, you were... To give some backstory on that, you put a list together of some emo bands, and that was the only band, like, in my mind, that was missing from that list. But honestly, I'm more into, like, radio emo, if that makes sense. So... I can always get down to My Chemical Romance for real.
Yeah, they're going to be playing that, dude. That's like, I saw that requested like 10 times on the comments. Like,
really? Yeah.
So Trey, isn't that kind of interesting to you? I think it's super interesting. Like some of these, it's like more mainstream fans think that of My Chem. When they think of emo, that's what they think of. You thought of Just Surrender. I'm thinking of AFI, which is obviously still in that same vein of My Chemical Romance.
I would agree.
Because they hit it big with Sing the Sorrow, Girls Not Grey, and then a humongous with Miss Murder. Mm-hmm. I love Miss Murder. Like,
it's a fun tune.
I was kind of being like realistic with the Just Surrender. What I would like to hear is like more like DC emo, but I know 100% they're not going to do that. Like, so like Sunny Day Real Estate, like...
Do you mean Dashboard Confessional, or do you mean actual Washington,
Like,
DC?
It was like the predecessor to like radio emo, basically, that like is what everyone has heard, you know, but it was more like punk style, you know, and honestly, Sunny Day Real Estate reminds me of a lot of Death Cab for Cutie, but like honestly less whiny, like
less whiny.
Yeah. So like, I'm trying to think of more stuff in that vein. Like, honestly, like the Gin Blossoms or whatever.
Yes,
wow.
I love the Gin Blossoms.
I do too, actually.
So, dude, right? I'm right with you, Trey. When I got into like emo in 2004, 5, 6, and like, you know, I guess I'm like emo is an umbrella term for me right now, like in this discussion.
Yeah, no, that's like kind of like how it was back in the days. Like anything that was like relatively like sensitive was emo. So like Death Cab, I wouldn't even call them an emo band, but they like that would have been lumped in. Like honestly,
the Postal Service.
All of that would have just got lumped into one like blanket term. But I mean, to be fair, I don't really like subgenres either. Like that stuff kind of drives me crazy. Like you can just be like, oh, it's a rock band, probably. You know what I mean? But
So
anyway.
Sunny Day Real Estate, you said?
Yeah,
That's a
they're
great example, and that reminds me of one of the acts in one of the songs I'd love to, if I have control, because I think I will be on stage for some of this. I don't know. I've been told by Lydia and Austin that we might be on stage to be hype men, essentially. Hype men and women, hype peoples. But I would like to hear the Promise Ring, man.
Oh, yeah, dude. Promise Ring is great, dude.
Is that a song or a band? Forgive me.
It's a band, and they have a song called... I always blank on the song, but I literally have it in my head like once a week. I don't know East Texas from Louisiana.
Nothing matters.
Nothing matters. Yeah, exactly,
I
dude.
love Promise Ring, dude.
Trey, you're the bomb, my man. I love you. Fugazi.
Yeah, that'd be great, dude. Yeah,
Dude, I'd love to hear some Fugazi. And then Texas Is the Reason.
Yeah, no, all that shit's like that.
The
DC,
Grandfathers 2 title fight. The Grandfathers, exactly like you were saying with Sunny Day Real Estate. What about anything that Aaron, what's his name? Andrew, whatever in the wilderness now? Andrew McMahon. So anything that he had a hand in, which is like 3 other bands.
I honestly don't. I'm bad with artist names.
I'm going to kick it to you, Brandon. Vamp for me while I Google a little bit. About
emo stuff. Okay. Well, I'll go explain why I'd be interested in like some radio play such as My Chemical Romance. For example, I hear tunes from My Chemical Romance in all genres. From they're heavy in EDM, like for intros and stuff like that. Dylan Francis samples My Chemical Romance a lot. Steve Aoki, other EDM artists. I've seen rappers sample My Chemical Romance and Black Parade and things like that just all the time.
We're going to hear Helena for sure.
Oh, I agree.
100%.
I agree. And that's a perfect example of a song that gets sampled in hip hop that I've seen. So I think that's why I, lean towards that radio stuff. And, like my Warped Tour days are just a blur. So I remember going from stage to stage and like raging, but do I remember what I was actually seeing? No.
I never drank at Warped until... Actually, I literally have never drank at Warped. Ever. I drank the night before, like when we had the hotel party, we drove up to Minneapolis, had a hotel night before, and drank. But I never drank at Warped.
Yeah, so that's why I would say more like a Blink-182. And, for example, Blink-182 was the first concert I've ever seen in my life. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
I got to see them...
in high school, actually.
Well, what?
Yep.
Nice. Where at?
It was during Summerfest in Milwaukee.
Wow.
It was actually sweet.
One of your more favorite shows, probably?
It's in the top 10. It's not in the top 5 for sure. I'll tell you that. I've seen a lot of live music, and there's just some that just is crazy.
Dude, like the old Blink shows, like I've heard like recordings and stuff, and like they are like stand-up comedians during that shit though. Like between songs they say something like, well, I mean, I guess if you're like a middle school boy, you're gonna find it way more funny, but like I still think it's funny because I'm trapped. I'm a middle school boy trapped in an old dude's body, so but
love it.
Anyway.
So Andrew McMahon, he was in something corporate.
Oh, yeah.
Straight up, like, that's going to be played tonight, I'm sure. And then Jack's Mannequin. So that's what I was going to get into. More like the Spill Canvas, Jack's Mannequin, the stuff that had those radio hits. That's more like singer-songwriter. Like,
Isn't that labeled more of like an alternative?
Yeah, like I would say like indie alternative.
I'm worried.
And then, like,
go ahead, sorry.
I doubt that they would play any of that.
Okay, I'm hopeful that they don't. So what, you made a good point. Like, if we want to leave it up to Austin, I'm going to be way more relaxed and happy about it all, but... I don't know I don't know how the Emo Nite thing works, if it's like franchised out and he has like a certain select playlist he has to have.
I was wondering about that, to be honest with you.
A select pool of songs.
Yeah, and I wondered if it was going to be like all radio play, because I wouldn't want, personally, even though I'm not a huge emo fan, I would want stuff that I haven't listened to, such like Trey was saying, because some of the bands that you've mentioned, I've never even heard of. And that's one of my favorite things about going to a show.
Yeah, no, you'll definitely hear some random stuff, I'm sure. I think that they'll play some obscure stuff, but it's mostly going to be, like you said, like more, accessible, like...
Anything that will spark a sing-along. So that's what my one of my points was, is that Although thank you for mentioning my list, Brandon. This list was like The Wonder Years, Law Dispute, Balance and Composure. The Used is going to be played, hopefully.
Sure, I love The Used. I had some good Warped Tour days to them.
Love them. The Story So Far, though, like a newer or Citizen.
Yeah. I don't think they'll play stuff like that.
Agreed.
I mean, they might, but I think like what was the first Story So Far album, like the EP,
2012.
I mean, I honestly think maybe it was earlier than that, but it still wasn't like relevant. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like stuff in high school that like everyone, like the emo kids were passionate about.
I totally agree. But what my counterpoint to that would be, I know for a fact, just because I did do some research on what to expect this morning, is they're going to be playing Tiger's Jaw. And they're going to, in Tiger's Jaw. Yeah,
if they're playing Tiger's Jaw, they'll play The Story So Far. 100%.
That's what I'm thinking. Tiger's Jaw, first album just as high schoolers in 2006. So, we're going on 12 years, but they broke through like 2010, 2009. Yeah,
no, I didn't hear about them until probably late, like after high school. Like I graduated in 2010.
Exactly, same. I love that band though. I just got to see them in September with Manchester Orchestra. So,
that'd be so
do you think that they would play Manchester?
I don't know. I want to see Manchester Orchestra, to be quite honest with you.
Oh man, I'm going back to see them here at Seven Flags.
I was just gonna say, I think they're coming here
with the front bottoms.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah. No, someone was telling me that. I don't really want to go to Seven Flags.
Hell no, but if it's a band like Manchester, which is in like my top bands of all time,
I want to see them just because I've never seen them and I hear so many good things.
Yeah, you would like them, dude. So my other question I want to pose to you both, and I already have some insider info because a friend of the show, Nick Hamilton, went and saw Emo Nite LA there, because there's two different Emo Nites. There's Emo Nite Brooklyn, so Emo Nite BK, and then there's also Emo Nite LA. This is put on by Emo Nite LA, which is more put together, way better quality apparently. Anyway, are we going to see some heavier tracks, some heavier artists like The Devil Wears Prada or A Day to Remember?
I bet Day to Remember, but I doubt we'll see The Devil Wears Prada because that's like more in like the vein of metalcore, I guess. But
so no Bring Me the Horizon.
No.
Okay.
No.
I agree. I just wanted to put that out there. A Day to Remember, I only think that they would be playing if they did like his acoustic track kind of thing,
I think they'll bust it out, honestly. Especially, like you said, if they're playing, like, Tiger's Jaw, Story So Far, if they're going into, like, the later, like, 07 to, like, 2010 era, like, they will 100% play, like, maybe one of the softer ones, but still, like, electric, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't even think that we're going to hear any guitar, like, rock and roll as far as, like, unless it's, like, My Chemical Romance.
Would you label Jimmy Eats World?
That's more like alternative. Okay. But they are going to play Jimmy.
Early on, they were definitely like a straight pop punk band with like emo
influences.
Like 100%.
We won't hear any Seosin or Circus Survive except for possibly 7 Years which was their original EP they released in 2005, 2003, I believe, actually, with translating the name EP with Anthony Green, Seosin. We are going to hear 7 Years, I hear.
You know who we're going to hear a lot of is Coheed and Cambria.
Dude, that's exactly right.
Yeah, that's going to be at least 3 songs. At least there's like 3 songs off the top of my head that are just going to be played 100%, so... Like,
so what I've heard from Nick Hamilton is that we aren't going to hear very much heavy stuff that's going to create like a mosh pit.
Sure.
Which is interesting to me. I know a lot of emo kids back in the day would not be partaking in the mosh pits. They would be in the back smoking cigarettes when you could actually do that. But something else though, I know I'm jumping around here, but I've got my list in front of me. Thanks to Brandon for reminding me. Is that we will not hear any Motion City soundtrack. We won't. It's been told. I've been told. I have some inside info. We will not hear.
Dark times,
dude. Like So this is a band that
fully aware. I've seen them 3 times.
Nice. Yep. Heck yeah.
Love them. Yeah.
I saw them at Valor maybe once or twice and Warped Tour.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's one of my favorite shows. Was at the House of Bricks, like a Motion City soundtrack. And,
headlining.
Yeah. And like. like, you know, you said you were sweating, like drenched in sweat. I was in like one of those like humpy push pits, you know?
Yeah.
And like just drenched in other people's sweat, you know?
So much
like,
sweat that the ceiling was sweating. Right? Those are my favorite shows, man.
It was steamy, dude. Like, 16
Well, that's unfortunate. Would you label them emo?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Most
Then
of the,
why wouldn't they play then?
Let's get fucked up and die.
Yeah, no
It's
shit.
like-
That's what I was just gonna say. Let's Get Fucked Up and Die is one of my favorite songs. Like,
That's great.
I love it. But I don't know, man. Like that's what I'm going into this with a positive mental attitude.
if you're up there on that stage, slide that in.
Yeah, I'm kidding. Well, I want to slide in some, like, you know, when we just hear like the used Taste of Ink or something a little bit heavier, or Senses Fail, Let It Unfold, anything off Let It Unfold do, but anything like that, you know, we need something calm. I'm gonna slip in that Promise Ring song. The Academy is, though, I'm excited to hear them, and even Cute is what we aim for. I love both
I
those
actually
things.
like their like hits are like incredibly catchy. Like, I don't know. I feel like embarrassed.
Curves, man.
Yeah, dude. I feel embarrassed when I listen to it, but like,
I find myself, well, I do this all the time with every artist ever that I sing along to, including Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I like I morph my voice to like literally that voice.
oh,
Like,
yeah, no. That's what I'm saying.
I've got the
It's like, I got the gift of one-liners,
Yeah,
and
you've
got the curse of curves.
so excited for this. Emo Nite's about to pop off. We'll definitely have a small recap next week.
I feel like that's what I'm gonna listen to on the way home now.
Yeah.
Emo tunes.
So, I mean, I have a Law Dispute tattoo. I have a Title Fight tattoo. And I would have a Balance and Composure tattoo if they didn't break my heart and break up just like about a couple of years ago now. So those three bands I would love to hear. Title Fight, Law Dispute, Balance, Composure. We won't, though. We won't. No. Bummer, but they aren't really emo.
No.
Not really, kind of.
The first Title Fight album was like a hardcore album. Like, it's like listed as hardcore and a bunch of shit, you know?
It's definitely pop punk, like harder pop punk.
Yeah, for sure. It's like old Minor Threat hardcore, though. Like, not like hardcore as we think of it in like the modern, like,
Lots of Blink-182 boxcar, at least that one Boxcar Erasure song everyone loves.
Oh, yeah.
I actually do like that song.
What is it like? I feel so...
Yeah.
Something. I feel so...
Yes, that's exactly right, Trey. We're going to get taken off of YouTube because of the amazing...
Dude, I nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, the algorithm is getting picked up.
Exactly.
I heard that you can't even, like, drop F-bombs on YouTube, no?
What?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, dude, you're getting demonetized, bro.
Oh, I never monetize the
I'm just
video.
joking.
We only get about 50 views, maybe. Lots of our listeners coming from Facebook, all the homies, all the friends out there, fellow Lemonheads, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Two artists, though, I do want to hear, and I think we will hear. Bayside, Silverstein.
Oh, yeah, 100% on both of those.
One of my favorite tours of all time, Bayside, Silverstein, co-headlining tour, People's Court, 2009. It was the self-harm tour where, you know, they're touring off to support suicide prevention.
Oh,
so
yeah.
good.
Like the Take Action tour?
Take Action tour, dude.
Yeah. No, dude, those were like the sickest compilations, dude.
Yes.
That's how I found out about Poison the Well, Thrice, like, I'm trying to think.
Will we hear Alkaline Trio?
Yeah,
Ooh,
probably.
that's fun. I love that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, honestly. That's a good call. For me, they're more of a pop punk band, like vampire pop punk, but like, you know, whatever. That's just splitting hairs, I guess. But
So excited, though. I mean, just this conversation's got me pumped and hyped because...
It's got me pumped and hyped, and I'm not the biggest emo fan.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to episode 85 of EZPZ Podcast. You can hear us on Facebook, YouTube. Just shoot me a message or whatever if you want to be on. I'm always trying to get my homies and friends on the podcast. So thank you, Brandon, for joining us. Where can they find you at?
Oh, they can find me on Gold Bizzle, G0LD Bizzle on social media.
Trey?
totally Trey on Insta, and then like the _ Trey on Twitter, and then twitch.tv/totallytrey.
Yeah, dude, I've been watching so much Twitch this last week. I've been breaking away from League of Legends, watching Magic the Gathering Arena, which looks like so much fun. They have pick-a-pack. How much does it cost to do a pick-a-pack? tempted.
I know that stuff was in beta last time I checked.
Yeah,
you
to
know,
get a beta key.
Yeah, well, I meant like the or the draft stuff, the limited stuff was like in like just testing style stuff, but it sounds like now it's so I don't know how
you
much
have to have
costs,
a beta key still, but it's apparently super easy. The streamer I was watching, Newmont the Mummy. Newmont, yeah, you know him?
Yeah.
He's tight.
Not a fan, but
really?
Yeah. I mean, he's just kind of like.
I don't like how he says stinky. He says that too much, but he's a lot.
I haven't been watching him, so that's probably like a newer thing, but yeah.
Let me know of a Magic the Gathering streamer that you want me to check out, though, because I just like to watch limited. That's my favorite format.
LSB.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's like great grandfather of the game. I mean,
yeah, pretty much LSB.
Does he own Channel Fireball?
No.
Okay. He just is represented and like sponsored by them.
Yeah. I'm sure. Maybe partners at this point or something, but I don't think he owns it.
Louis
or was
Scott Vargas.
Yeah, no, he's cool dude. Honestly, pretty funny.
I've never heard a bad thing about him.
I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of MTG these days, so
I was just getting pumped on that. And then this weekend, happening right now, I just watched a whole bunch this morning. The Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships. Dude, I love Pokemon. I got into it with Nick Gandy really hard 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Spent good chunk of money. Still have some of my decks, but yeah, I love Pokemon. Damage counters for life.
Yeah, no, I've got old deck too. Well, I've got like a new deck and then I've got two like old decks. So I've got like, not to just like ramble on and on, but like the Scyther deck and like the Gengar deck or whatever.
You have that?
Yeah, the old one.
Dude, it was Scyther v Hitmonchan. Like that was always like the two top decks.
Yeah, no, it's Scyther, Hitmonchan, Electabuzz, and Wigglytuff.
Dude,
so,
yes!
Yeah.
I love it. So tight. Thank you so much. You can find me though at Shaun S. Johnson on everything. Find the EZPZ at the EZPZ. Thank you again, guys, for listening. Lemonheads, we love you out there. This has been EZPZ Podcast, episode 85, and we out.
Peace.